Hi guys, so I'm a minute late there. I was having a few issues getting my phone on and in the holder, but we're here. I'm holding holding the space. Sunday the 2nd of August. So first live of August as well. So welcome for those of you who have joined me, or about to join me, or may connect at some point over the next day or so. Lovely weather, lovely day. So reflecting on this week. I'm just moving my camera a little bit. Some reflections. One of the people who I supervise sharing with me about various aspects of their work, and one of the things that came up was she had named a concern that she felt she was, and she used the words abandoning some of her clients. And this came about because she said that she was considering an outside door option for her sort of therapy with her clients, because basically that at the moment that really was the option with a particular centre that she uses. And what she'd also explained was that if they chose not to use that option, as it was the only option, there were other spaces that she needed to consider for other clients available as well. So, for some, this sense of abandonment, for some, I think she was a bit concerned that it may mean they wouldn't necessarily choose to, have the space there. When we dug a little bit deeper about all the work that she then had tried to put into making and creating this appropriate space for these clients in this outdoor area, which would also include money, materials, PPE, lots of things that were going to have to be put in place. She realised that actually some of the clients that she was speaking to had already, in a way, sort of said that they didn't want this option. They didn't feel it was obviously the same as what it had been. They'd had already some different methodology through the lockdown, a little bit via phone or virtual sort of network in terms of Zoom and so on. But I think apart from one, for a number of them, this wasn't really working for them. And actually, what she then began to realise was this sense of what she felt was initially her abandoning potentially these sort of clients. She actually realised that this term was more about the fact that, in a way, I think she was being quite honest, that they'd already begun to abandon, if you like, her and the work. They'd already moved on through the lockdown. They may have shifted in what they wanted. They changed, things had changed for them. And so it was actually really them that were ending the work, in a sense, by saying they didn't want this as an option that they were offering. And the person that I'm sort of supervising felt, in a way, that she was holding on to them. She knew she was working hard to put a lot of effort into making it work. And, something that we've always said is, if you're working really hard and it feels really hard, then there's a chance that perhaps you're doing too much. Maybe the client needs to do some of that as well. And so she was really invested in wanting this to work in so many ways. They put so much thought into the process, but ultimately they'd already, in their own different ways, sort of indicated that, even probably before the decision she'd made, that they really didn't want to continue in the same way they had before. And I was thinking about this, and I thought it takes courage actually to accept that, in spite of us wanting something to work, If you really, doing everything to make this happen, and you're putting lots of things in place, and you're, even thinking about all the things you can do to make this work, others may have already made decisions that they don't want that anymore. Whatever that is, they've maybe moved on, they've changed, they've adapted in some way. Maybe what they now want is something different. And I thought, but that happens in a lot of relationships as well. And I think it's quite important for people to be able to be honest with themselves and accept, at what points is somebody working hard, trying really hard at something, wanting something to work, but perhaps more so than other people that are involved, and that actually it gets to a point where it may be slightly unhealthy for that person, and they really do need to get to a point where they acknowledge that, enough's enough, this isn't what they really need anymore, and the other person or people have actually in their own ways made that clear already. And I think it's more honest and more healthy for the person concerned to be able to let go of that and acknowledge that, and begin to start that process of letting go for themselves as well. There's another sort of reflection that I've been sort of thinking about this week, and it's actually a client that I'm sort of coaching, and we had a session really recently where they were saying to me that they didn't feel they were getting what they wanted from the session. And what I would sort of say is, when you're hearing somebody say that, it takes a lot to try and remain open to hearing what they have to say, especially somebody saying they're not happy with what they're getting. It takes a lot to stay objective, to be able to ask the right questions rather than taking it personally. I sort of noticed that the session, understandably felt uncomfortable at times. We both sort of shared our thoughts and our perspective on this. We revisited some of the expectations that the person had named initially and was, explaining again. I also named that I felt, and I had said this before actually, that I felt also, amongst other things, this person was setting perhaps the coaching up to fail because of other things that they'd shared in other sessions. And this wasn't really that easy for me to say, to be fair. It's a little bit of a, ooh, how's that going to land? And also not easy for the other person to hear. However, coaching in particular is about showing up. It's about being honest. It's about remembering to hold the big picture for what a client is saying that they want from the coaching. And also, when the client is not believing this for themselves, and perhaps losing sight of that, it's the coach's job to remind them. And also, I'd say not to get caught up in any, sort of frustration and anger that a client may be experiencing, and take it personal to you. And noting as well that the frustration and anger that a client may be feeling is just as much about how they feel about themselves. In fact, it's more so often about that than it is about you yourself. Now, I know that I'm a really good coach. I know I'm a really good therapist. I'm a really good supervisor. And at the same time, I'm human, not perfect. There's going to be moments where I will get caught up in something, that might get a little bit sticky. So for all the skills and the experience that I have, and what I would say is, I think it takes courage to say that and admit that to myself, never alone to, another person. I do, on reflection, when I was thinking about it, I did think I felt that perhaps I got caught up a little bit too much in their frustration. On reflection as well, I think I was getting a bit caught up in the language. I won't go into detail, but there were certain words that they used right at the beginning that I think did feel a little bit sort of personal. And what I would say is, this is why, for example, whatever, whether you be coaching, therapy, whatever your work is in terms of if you're helping people, I think the importance of supervision is vital. So, you can unpick these kind of dynamics I'm talking about, get clear to remain objective as possible, to gain different viewpoints. And what was interesting when I was thinking about this and I was reflecting, was I thought one of the things that struck me was the word being humble and humility. And I don't know why, it just kept coming up, it kept resonating. So I looked up a few definitions and looked at a few articles, and there was one that in particular caught my eye, and I really liked what it had to say. Actually, I liked the content of it, and I thought, yeah, it's a good piece to remember, that it is, I think it takes some courage actually sometimes to, put your ego aside, and the fact that, you want people to think you're good at something, and to sort of take that little bit of humility as well. But interestingly, I think it's important to hear what I think some people, think humility is about. And I found this article by this guy called Dr. Matt James. He's the president of the Empowerment Partnership, and it was in the HuffPost. It's actually dated the 8th of September 2017, so you know where it came from. And the title is, "What does it mean to be humble?" And it says, "The one characteristic of authentic power that most people overlook is humbleness. It is important for many reasons. A humble person walks in a friendly world. He or she sees friends everywhere he or she looks, wherever he or she goes, whomever he or she meets. His or her perception goes beyond the shell of appearance and into essence." And then this particular person who wrote this article, this Matt James, goes on to talk about he's fortunate enough to be carrying on what he calls 28th generation of a particular lineage of what he calls Huna, Huna. And apparently he teaches this wisdom to other people all over the world. And it actually also comes from this science of ancient Hawaiians. So that's the sort of background to it. And he sort of finds this concept from Huna, which is called spelled H-A-A. That's what they mean by humility, or to be humble. And he says it's a key ingredient to any type of spiritual growth or personal evolution, and is one of the keys to lasting success. And then he goes on to talk about humility is not about being self-critical or self-depreciating. He says it doesn't mean that you're down on yourself or that you think you're less worthy than others. Instead, it is a quiet confidence that doesn't require bragging or boasting. You're confident in yourself, your talents and your skills, but you don't go around showing off or trying to gain others' approval or applause. And as he says, and he gives examples, he says, when I meet someone and they ask me what I do for a living, I don't start off by saying, well, I have a number of degrees in various disciplines. I've got a PhD in psychology, I lead Huna and NLP training for people all over the world, and clients pay mega bucks to do private coaching with me. And as he said, that's not being which is this humility. And as he says, I give the simplest explanation that is truthful. And then he says, I work with individuals on improving what they do and their communication skills. I teach people to empower themselves. And he goes on to say, once we know each other better and talk at depth, I'll eventually explain more about what that actually means. And he says, humility is not about denying what you know or what you believe. It's also not thinking that you know it all, or that your belief is the only game in town. And he says one of his favourite sayings has always been, you never know who you're talking to. The person listening to me may actually know more about a topic than I do. And then he goes on to talk about when he was younger, he spent a summer with his Uncle George Naob, who was one of his Kumus to do with his background. And he says, every day when I entered his school of hula, I saw a phrase above the entrance. In English, the phrase means, think not that all wisdom is in your school. For decades, this phrase has been my constant reminder that my way is not the only way of thinking, being or doing, but it's offering respect to everyone and respecting where they come from in the model of their world. Then it goes on to say, humility is not about hiding your light in a bushel. Being humble doesn't mean that you're supposed to hide out or pretend to be less than you are. That is a false humility that no one serves, or that serves no one. And he says, I know I have gifts, as do others. I have things to teach and much to learn. My talents are to be shared and not applauded. I've been a teacher for many years. Teaching is my gift and my passion. Your light might be that you're a terrific parent or a brilliant artist. You might be really smart or have a great singing voice. Whatever your gifts, and we all have gifts, these gifts are meant to be shared. The more you share, the more that comes back to you. Sharing your gifts and appreciating others' gifts is being humble and having humility. But constantly seeking admiration for those gifts is not. And then he goes on to still talk about it being an important concept in Huna and on any path that seeks to expand awareness. An overblown ego is a big trap along the road of spiritual evolution. The minute you think you know something for certain, your spiritual growth stops dead cold. There's a story about a Zen master who kept filling a visitor's teacup even though it overflowed. When the guest protested, he said, "You're like this cup. You're full of ideas. You come and ask for teaching, but your cup is full. I can't put anything in." Lack of humility is also deadly in other areas of life. People without humility tend to play power games, losing their connection to others. They talk when they should listen. They cling to their opinions and ideas rather than open to the wisdom and viewpoints of others. Basically, they cut themselves off from knowledge, intelligence, relationships and support from others that could help them grow both personally and professionally. And he says authentic power includes humility. The moment you let fame or success go to your head, you unplug from the authentic power. And the basketball great John Wooden said, "Talent is God-given, be humble. Fame is man-given, be grateful. Conceit is self-given, be careful." And I just thought that was a really lovely sort of piece, really, to think about in terms of what I was just sharing about what I think humility is in relation to trying to remain open and honest, and you know, open to somebody else's perspective on what they feel and what they think, rather than, as I said earlier, you know, sort of taking it so personally and trying to consider it from another perspective as well. So I think that sense for me of, you know, bring yourself back to remembering, be humble, have some humility, be certain and assertive in, you know, who you are and what you're about. So you're valuing yourself and your worth, but you're also trying to, you know, be honest and transparent with other people and staying open to them as well. So that's my sort of piece around courage and linking it to humility. I've got a poem this week, and the poem is called The Hump. There's a hump. It feels like a hump between us, a hump in the road. I have the hump with you, the hump with myself. The hump is a weight, a load, like a barrier, something that's in the way. I'm not sure how we get round it. Do you want to get round it? we have to get around it to clear the path, clear the road, breathe again, to be able to see ahead of us, to lighten the load, to have clarity, to see a future vision, to achieve my goals, to have my expectations met. That is, if you can meet my expectations. What if your expectations are setting us up to fail? What if you're setting yourself up to fail? There's that hump in the road again. What do we do then? I don't feel like I have the energy sometimes. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's what I thought I wanted. But now, I'm not so sure I can do it. This isn't what I thought. You're not what I thought. There's those expectations again. That hump in the road. The hump I'm not sure we'll get over. What can I say? Watch this space. Watch this hump. Mind the gap. Mind the hump. And so, moving on to my little ditty. I've actually got two versions. Now I'm really pushing the boat out now. I've got two versions of the same song, and I found the second version came up because it literally ran straight after the first one in terms of what I was listening to, and I was like, oh, quite like that. So the first version you're going to hear, most people will go, ah, I know that. But then after that, I am going to play some of the second version and see what you think. So as always, if you want to sing along, feel free. If you want to dance a bit, feel free. Do whatever you need to do, guys. So just give us a second. Sunshine in your smile, bring me laughter all the while. In this world where we live, there should be more happiness, so much joy you can give to each brand new bright tomorrow. Make me happy through the years, never bring me any tears. Let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. In your smile, bring me laughter all the while. In this world where we live, there should be more happiness, so much joy you can give to each brand new bright tomorrow. Make me happy through the years, never bring me any tears. Let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love, sweet love. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Woo. Now, I'm going to play you another version. And this is by the Jive Aces. So just have a listen to this and tell me what you think. Sunshine in your smile, bring me happy all the time. In this world where we live, there should be more happiness, So much joy you can give to each brand new bright tomorrow. Make me happy through the years. Never bring me any tears. Let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Sunshine in your smile, bring me laughter all the while. In this world where we live, there should be more happiness. So much joy you can give to each brand new bright tomorrow. Make me happy through the years, through the years. Never bring me any tears, any tears. Let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Do a bit of a jive. Happy for years, never bring me any tears. Let your arms be as warm as the sun from up above. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me love. Woo! That was by the Jive Aces, and I think that is fabulous. Brilliant, if I may say so. Not me, but the song, the version. Oh, so guys, oh, the irony of humility. So guys, that's really uplifting. Well, it is for me. So, I hope you've gained something of worth from my live. Have a lovely evening and a really lovely week. And you know, guys, just please put things into perspective. You know, there's times where just remind yourself of what's important, who you love, what you love. Just bring some joy, bring some fun, have a dance, have a boogie, listen to some music. Music and dance are just such lovely, lovely things in life, to be able to just bring something different to the world and shift your energy. So yeah, that's me. Really look forward to hearing from you, and I shall speak to you hopefully really soon. Take care, guys. Lots of love, sparkle, warmth. Bye.